You know, there's no concrete marker here, but if you travel to Lincoln, you see a lot of them. They were planted in 1928 by Boy Scouts working with the good folks at the original Lincoln Highway Association.
Well, that was their third and final marking of the Lincoln Highway, and they thought that would be permanent.
Also in 1928, the association partnered again with the Boy Scouts on a cross-country promotional tour. 4 Eagle Scouts got to travel the whole Lincoln Highway.
This was a wonderful opportunity for the Scouts who were chosen for the trip. A chance to see the country and see the West.
Almost 70 years later, an archivist and historian in Ohio named Esther Oyster was national president of the Lincoln Highway Association and had to organize the annual meeting.
We were hosting the conference in Ohio in 1997, and I got to wondering, are any of those Eagle Scouts still living? I can do the math, they're 85 years old. And my sister-in-law searched on the internet, and 2 names were too common. One, there was no match. The 4th one match. He's in Pittsburgh, and that was Bernie Queneau. Called him up, and he was the one.
And she couldn't wait. She was so anxious to find out if she had located one of those Boy Scouts.
And I invited him to be our banquet speaker in June. He was.
I hadn't heard about the Lincoln Highway for, 70 years in that, yeah.
Yeah, but he had memories of that summer trip and a diary.
My mother said I should keep a diary, and my mother told me I did.
They did skits and first aid demonstrations in towns all along the highway.
It's kind of interesting. As a teenager, you know, you're pretty blasé in a way. My recollection, at least, is that we took it all in. We enjoyed it. It was exciting, but our blood pressure didn't go up.
After the '97 conference, Esther and Bernie went their separate ways until 2002.
And he was invited to California. They're going to dedicate the marker out in Lincoln Park, the Western Terminus marker. And he's to be the person to dedicate it. Since I knew him, they asked me to be his escort.
But when we met, she gave me a big hug, so we did kind of like each other to begin with.
Then we started seeing each other after that. And by the next conference, we were married.
We got married at 91. So I always claimed she's a gambler. Who'd want to marry a 91-year-old?
It was a whirlwind romance.
First 5 years are good. We only take 1 year at a time now.
Lovebirds of the Lincoln Highway.
So one fine day in 2008, we went with Bernie and Esther into Ohio.
They got some nice tomatoes there.
I'll bet some good sweet corn, too. This is some original Lincoln Highway here in Ohio. We're pretty proud of this stretch. A little bumpy, has character.
And who knows how such a story will end. For years, this was part of the best route from New York to San Francisco. The Lincoln Highway is just a great American road, a path from coast to coast, a line on a map that provides a way to get to places you didn't even know you wanted to go. It's old and it's confusing at times, but its charms are endless. Its potential's still amazing. And obviously, people love it.
Do I ever ride it just for fun? I always ride it just for fun.
I mean, I want to do it. I'm envious of people who've driven the whole thing in one trip.
It gave Americans an appreciation for the breadth of the continent that they simply hadn't had except maybe by train.
It brings us all together. The road, of course, was intended to bring people together.
I know as long as I travel on the Lincoln Highway, if I go far enough, I'll end up being home again.
This weekend coming up, I'm trying to think again, how far can I go east or west on the Lincoln Highway before I have to turn around and get back home?